I am so excited for tonight. We have an incredible show here with 9 at Night. And I'll tell you what makes it incredible is you, of course, coming on to see our incredible guests, but it's the guests themselves. 9 at Night is every weekday night, Monday through Friday, with a different topic every weekday night. But tonight it's all about the talent. And on this show, I can attest that we have the very best talent, regardless if it's a painter that's world known, a musician, an actor, a creative modeling agency, and a good producer. We sure have it. Well, tonight we have a nice surprise for you. Those that like to strum the guitars, we have our own guitar manufacturer, an individual that's just started pretty young at that, and he's doing so well. We have another gentleman that is all over the gamut when it comes to movies and TVs and martial arts, plus musician. Well, let's hang in there. We're going to first start off with our wonderful creative modeling agency. And I absolutely love this lady. She is definitely one that makes a positive difference when it comes to other people's lives. And so with that, we have Carla. Carla Johnson is just an amazing lady, and I can't say enough. She has a dear friend of mine as well. She has Creative World Model and Talent Agency, and it is based in Montana, but it's one of the oldest agencies in the state. But her connections are powerful. And let's now introduce our good friend Carla Johnson. Carla, I'm so glad that you're here today.
Thank you, Christine. I appreciate it.
Well, what is so exciting
Good to be
about
here?
You brought in some wonderful talent. Can you give us a sneak peek before I introduce Josiah?
Tell us a sneak peek of Josiah. Well,
yeah,
you know, they say like a model. Well, Josiah is a model because he just exuberates like just such kindness, humbleness. He's just probably one of the best talent and models I ever had. And I really appreciate when I have models and talent like that, because it makes my job so much easier when I know I send them somewhere and they're going to be on good behavior and they're not going to embarrass me or whatever. So like I said, Josiah is a model because I know wherever he goes, he's going to be humble and he's going to be professional and courteous. And it's just a real joy to represent somebody like Josiah.
That is excellent. Now, thank you for that little sneak. I can't wait till we actually get him on here, but let's talk about you, Carla. Let's do a real quick run through on your agency. You've been doing it a long time, but what do you plan to do in the next few years with this?
Well, I've got it's kind of funny because I ended up during the COVID, got kind of asked to do some producing and co-producing for some shows here in Montana, which was a little bit out of my realm, but they ended up being very good shows. Well, you had Jill on last week, and hopefully it'll get promoted into something bigger. I know bigger companies are looking at her show now, which is exciting. And so so during the COVID, we did a hunting and fishing show. We did a house flipping show. So I kind of went out of my comfort zone from just being an agent to being going into that part of it, which was very exciting and just a different avenue for me. But, you know, I had to do what I had to do to create some income during the COVID. So, but it was exciting and I enjoyed it. And actually am thinking about maybe I've had a couple more people ask me to help them do that. And I mean, I would love to make a show about Josiah. And we could get some funding for that because he's a unique person. He is really, like I said, I'm very honored to represent him, and he's just a really great guy. I think we ought to make a show about Josiah.
Well, yeah, you're sounds like you're getting into a whole different league in a wonderful way with your creative talent model and talent agency. The reason is why not, Carla? Why not get into the film,
Right.
television, and as a producer, as a production, whatever you do, just do it.
Mhm.
That's your bucket list.
Yeah.
I see you.
Well, you know, I have such great talent that it's I would just love to make a show about all of them, just about, because I just feel like they're just great and people with unique stories. So, I mean, like Josiah's got so many things that he does. He would be great. Just to follow him around to what he does. He does all kinds of things, and he has a very interesting life. So I think we should make a show about him.
Well, there you go.
So
Now,
anybody out there that wants to support him, let's go.
no, you said I know we can get some funding for him. So do you have resources to fund these type of shows?
Well, I said I would like to get some funding for him because that would be, sometimes a few people I've connected with do, but sometimes states will give like grants and things like that, but sometimes you can just find local people that will do, give funding. We just, in fact, Tim, who's been on the show before, Loafing, he was just commissioned by our little museum here in the next town over in Columbus in our county, Stillwater, to do a documentary on our little museum there in Columbus, our historic museum. So that was real exciting. So maybe somebody out there will have some funding and they'll want to help us out. So that would be great.
That's why we're doing shout outs for everybody. So it's Carla Johnson, Creative World Inc. And so let's go ahead and talk about Josiah. I'm going to let you help me introduce him since you brought him on. How did you two meet?
Well, we actually met, I think a girl invited him to an acting class that Tom Logan, one of my producer and director friends, came to Billings to do. And so I invited Josiah along. And then I didn't hear from him because he had gone to another company to a convention, a model and talent convention. And then I ran into him at a fashion show a few months later, and because I thought, well, he'll go to New York and he'll get signed with somebody big. And so I saw him at the fashion show and I said, gosh, like, how did you do? And he's like, oh, I got like all these callbacks. And I'm like, okay, so how come you're not signed somewhere like Los Angeles or New York? And he's like, I don't know. So he ended up going with me to the convention again. And he did get signed with someone in New York. I can't remember the exact name of them, but he might remember that. But so he ended up signing with them, but I think then he went to Florida. So he's kind of moved around a little bit, but I've always like kind of kept in touch with him because I'm like a mother agent. So I become like the mother. So, I don't like to lose track of my people because I love each and every one of them. And I want them to succeed in their dreams, their passions. So I just kind of keep tabs on them.
And you're the type of agency everybody should be signed up because you really care. It's not some quick thing or something that's not a little shady and stuff. You're the real deal, and with all integrity.
Well, thank you, Christine. I appreciate that. Yes, I tried to do that. Yes, ma'am.
Well, excellent. Well, yes. I'm excited. Let's go ahead and introduce our good friend, Josiah. Josiah, welcome. All right. There you go.
Hi, Christine. Good to be here.
It is great to have you here. Let's do this. Why don't you tell us a little bit about your passions and why you do what you do and do it so well?
Well, I guess I'll start with why I do what I do. And that is pretty much stemming from the wisdom of older people, the people that have gone before me, whether it be my father, my grandfathers, and, et cetera, et cetera. And I used to ask so many questions as a child. Now, of course, I drove my older siblings nuts. oftentimes how many questions I could ask all sorts of different people. I never ran out of things to say or questions to have. But the thing is, in the wisdom of older people, a lot of things I would ask them is, what do they wish they had done if they had more time? You know, what do they, and a lot of them just wanted to explore their full potential, you know, find out where their limits were. And so I remember particularly with my mom's father, he was a professional boxer. And, you know, he felt like he hung up the gloves a little too early, undefeated, never had somebody beat him, and, you know, retired and moved on with his life to something a little more family friendly. But then he never knew just how good he really was. You don't know how good you are until you've been beaten, or at least almost beaten. And so for him, even into his 80s, you know, he passed a couple years ago, but even into his 80s, he would talk about, you know, I wish I had, you know, signed that new professional contract and just seen what I really had in me. And so for me as a young man, I have kept my full-time regular work while trying to, you know, find things to do on the side. I don't like to just go home and sit down and watch TV at the end of the day. It's like, all right, now my regular day's over. Now what can I do? And so I invest in, you know, time as a musician or you know, health and fitness. My whole entire teenage youth was spent doing competitive powerlifting. Then I pursued, you know, same kind of like with my grandfather was so undefeated, nobody could even challenge me. I went to national events, broke world records, and I'm like, all right, well, I think I need to move on to the next thing because I need to explore what else I can do. I know I can do this. I can always come back to this, but what else can I do? So then I tried American Ninja Warrior, which actually is not martial arts. I think that was a bit of confusion
I
there.
said that I wasn't sure what that was.
Yeah, it's an extreme sports obstacle course TV show, but yeah. So anyway, I felt like exploring. I really wanted to find out what my limits were as a musician, as an athlete, and as a businessman.
Excellent. Now you say you own a business?
I do. I've owned a couple. COVID was obviously hard on things. I did own a yoga/fitness studio in downtown Minot, North Dakota. And when the shutdown happened and, you know, we weren't allowed to reopen for months and the end of our lease was coming up for that building. And I just said, you know what, it's time to pull the plug. Who knows? This could be a year, it could be 2 years. We don't know what's going to happen. So I did have to let that go. But primarily, I'm in the industry of seamless rain gutters, you know, exterior construction on residential and commercial buildings.
And that's so much needed. We're needing ours replaced. That's so carry on.
And they'll be needing it in Florida after today's hurricane. But that was something that my grandfather, my mom's father, again, started back in the 70s with my uncle for something for him to fall back on in case he didn't like what he was going to college for. And he did end up, you know, exceeding and stuff in the gutter business. And then I learned the trade as a teenager and started my own business at 20 years old.
Oh, that is excellent. That is absolutely. I'm so proud of you. Now, how old are you?
Thank you.
You've done
I am 30 for now.
Oh my gosh, that's incredible. That is just, or do you have family? Are you dating? Are you married?
I am single. I am quite too busy, it seems, to find a wife, but I have a lot of family to make up for it. I'm the 6th of 8 children in my family, and my siblings, most of my siblings are married and have children, so I'm actually an uncle to, my gosh, if I get this wrong, it'll be embarrassing. I think 28 nephews and nieces total.
I am so impressed. You're
so
just
I'm
like
just an uncle.
Just an uncle. You're probably the coolest uncle ever.
I hope so. I would hope so. I try to be.
I love that. And you know what? Carla was right. Being down to earth, being one that she knows that you're going to represent whoever very, very well, that says a lot. That's going to take you a long, way. This is your website. You haven't seen it before. But
no, I haven't.
It's
so brand new. I haven't even logged into it.
Yeah, well, I logged in for you. So we're going to go to the stats. I wonder, okay, let's see what stats talk about. Let's, if you can, it just shows your portfolio. It shows your measurements. I guess agent or casting people, they need this kind of stuff.
That's true. This was from my most recent shoot. I'm yet to, like I said, the website's brand new. So the ones who did the shoot are the ones that built the website for me. and I
Mhm.
get to upload, photos from my other shoots. So these are all just from one sitting, one day
You could
in Fort
play.
Lauderdale.
Oh, okay, excellent. You could play something like the Trojan hero, or even seriously, way back when you could play those kind of heroes.
It's so funny that you say that because one of my work associates, even today, made reference. He keeps on referring to me as Brad Pitt's character in the movie Troy, and that's just how he when he
Oh
tells
my,
people, this guy's coming over. He looks like the guy from Troy from
oh
that
my gosh,
movie.
isn't
So it's
that
funny you say
funny?
that.
Yeah, that
Now,
is
I do
like,
want to say regarding Carla's introduction, Carla is not my mother. In case anybody's thinking that, you'd swear she'd have to be to say such kind things about me. So I appreciate that very much. It's very humbling, very very honoring to hear that from Carla.
yeah, she's
She
amazing.
is,
Yeah,
she is, and you know what? Whenever I meet somebody that says, "Hey, I was wanting to get into the modeling business," especially young teenagers who could
Mhm.
easily be misled or taken advantage of, I send them all towards Carla.
Amen. Yeah, that's all you
Always.
have to do, always, because they will be safe and protected. So you can contact you. So I'm going to put my name in here and see if you get anything, if it's to you directly or to your agent or whatever. Who do you know who it will go to?
It should go to me if it's set up
Okay.
the way I was hoping it is. But we're in for an experiment, I guess.
Yeah, so it's 9ATNIGHT@gmail, and I'm gonna say hi. We are on the show together.
If my
Okay.
phone buzzes, then I'll assume it works. But I mean, I'm using my phone to access this right now because my
Let me
computer
know.
is Stone Age.
Let me know if this works. Okay. So there we go. I'm going to send them. Oh, I got to put this number in here, caption number. Well, just see if this works. F1F and send the message. Okay. Your message has been sent. So I guess that's all I do is wait and see if you get it.
I did turn on my do not disturb so I wouldn't get interrupted by other things. That might even prevent this from making a buzz.
That's all right. That's all right. It's just a test. Now we got the gallery. So this is the gallery and the stats and the contact. So what they did, they just made a one page with you here. So it's all on one page. You can get it all. It just takes it down to the center of the page. So excellent. That's all you need. So this is an excellent. Yeah, this is excellent. With that, let's talk about your musician. Do you have any YouTube where you played as a musician, or let's talk about that?
Unfortunately, I don't have any of my own stuff posted on YouTube. I've always kind of more so been the hired gun when it comes to playing music. And primarily, I've been a bass player I started playing the bass guitar when I was 10 years old, and my entire family is musical. As I mentioned to you before we started the recording, my dad made his living for most of my lifetime and even before my lifetime as a studio recording artist, a jingle writer, producer. So I grew up, around music. I grew up with my dad, always immersed in the music. And so it naturally just kind of passed on and picked up to me. And it was almost like a chore, almost like a job, but a fun one. Where it's like, hey, well, we need you to play, at this gig, we need the full band. So it's like, even when I was 12 years old and I had a broken arm from falling off a horse. My mom's an expert with horses. I was not. I fell off the horse, broke my arm, and then my dad actually cut the cast off about, a week, I don't know, about 9 days early from what they said we were supposed to do because I needed to play bass at a business conference that we were doing the entertainment for. So it's like, it was very much like a job, even at 12 years old.
That is funny. And you play drums.
I do play drums. For the most part, that's just been for fun or filling in like in the studio, like for, for rehearsing together and our normal drummers and around. And I just kind of picked it up for fun. But this year, I was hired to be bass player for summer festivals and stuff for a female artist originally from North Dakota who's now based in Nashville, and her name is Heather Ray. And she contacted me looking for a bass player, and she was putting her summer band together. And funny, I kind of knew her through other means. She had recorded in my father's studio about 10 years, 12 years back. But I didn't really do anything directly with her before, other than the North Dakota State Fair talent show. She beat me. She got first, I got third.
Dare
Um,
she?
and she deserved it, but it made a good impression at least, so that it got me the job in the future when she said, "Hey, I need a bass player." But then we're having trouble finding a drummer. We got a guitar player, and we're getting down to the wire close to the show. And I said, "All right, see whatever you can find first. Either another bass player or a drummer, whichever one first, and I'll cover whichever one." And I was kind of bluffing. I'd never actually performed playing drums before. A little bit in church praise and worship, but never any like contemporary rock music and stuff.
Uh-huh.
So it only took a couple days, and she said, "All right, found a bass player. You're on drums." I thought, "Oh, all right, time to brush off some rust and see if I can do this." And I had confidence that I, could and would delight in it. But yeah, so I just take the jobs as they come. Like I said, it's always been kind of a hobby and kind of a job.
Well, I'm just
But I
absolutely
love it.
impressed. Yeah. What is the future? What is your bucket list? Like, what is the ultimate? Where you want to be? What do you want to be doing?
Well, that's a can of worms. Because I tried American Ninja Warrior. I'd like to win that. It was very humbling for me coming from a powerlifting career in which even since my first one, I was, basically unchallenged. Couldn't, every competition I'd do was just, I was crushing records every time I went to an event. And so then when I got onto American Ninja Warrior and didn't get past the first round, I thought, well, I need to do something about this. I need to come back, better trained and all that stuff. So that's still on my list. I'd still like to get back on and win that show. There's only ever been one crowned winner, I believe. And so that is one of them. But the can of worms, as I said, to credit Carla's idea, I am working on my own TV show, except it's not based on me and my life story like what Carla was suggesting, but that's very entertaining by the thought. It's very honoring that she would even suggest that. But I'm working on a TV show, more of a reality show in which I would participate in it, but also writing it along with my brothers and a friend that we're putting together. We're putting our heads together on it. But I'm reminded of all these different things that I want to do, and I thought there's just not enough time in a day, let alone a lifetime, to really accomplish all these things. So how do I do it? And so I look to other people that have managed to do it before, all these different facets, like for example, even professional fighting. It's like, well, that's a whole life commitment. Professional musician, well, that's a whole life commitment too.
Right.
Well, what am I gonna do? Athletics, musicianship, acting. How would you even accomplish all this? So then I look to guys like Tom Cruise or Sylvester Stallone that write and produce their own films, in which case they have to learn these skills at least to a believable point of pulling off a professionalism kind of look to it, in which case they kind of get the best of both worlds, because they get their feet wet, learning to be a pilot, learning to be a boxer, or whatever it may be, and they get a taste of they get to sample all the flavors, all the different talents of life. And so that was an inspiring choice to me. George Lucas, the creator of Star Wars, taught a lecture on that, talking about how he was trying to decide, because he had all these different options as he was going to college, all these different things he wanted to pursue, and he ended up making movies because that was how he could kind of hit 5 birds with one stone, as an artist, as an author, as a photographer, and as a designer of cars and outfits and things like that. He just kind of went nuts with it. I thought that's how I can do it.
Well, that is Carla. Get back on here for a minute. I was going to tell you as it is. I think you need to pursue, Carla, this TV show idea. We need to get him funded and do that. We can have.
I would love it. I would absolutely love it.
Richard Trilson, we're going to meet Richard next, but he's got a recording studio that he can do the intro with this, all the music backdrop. We can use Eric Daw guitars. We're going to meet Eric too. We can really make that. My son and his girlfriend have production. I mean, they do movies, they do documentaries all over the world.
Wow.
So we're connected with a lot of things just here. So
the world's getting smaller by the minute here.
It sure is. Yep. So Carla, we got to talk. I just want to say thanks again, Josiah. Yes. We're going to move on, but you guys are absolutely great, and I'm so excited. Thank you so much. This is pretty exciting.
Thank you, Christine.
Thank you. It's so great to meet you. It's great. Always great to speak to you, Carla.
Yeah.
Thank you, Josiah.
We're definitely going to
take the opportunity.
We're going to be definitely having you guys back for sure. Right now, I want to introduce Rick Trulson. He goes by Richard Trulson and Facebook, Instagram, and all these places, but he is absolutely incredible when it comes to playing every musical instrument you can imagine that would be in a production studio. He owns an incredible production. Here you are. Here's Rick doing a lot of things, and he has Star Recording Studio right here. So with that, let's just bring you on, Rick, and I sure appreciate you being here.
Well, hi, Christine. I appreciate you having me. I like the ad you made for me. Thank you.
You bet. I appreciate it. Now you're on vocal only. So what we're going to do is just kind of talk about your pictures here. We have, yeah, why don't you explain these?
Okay, that picture up in the left-hand top corner, I had a band called, it had a strange name, the Leather Cup, and your guest you just had on, that band was from Williston, North Dakota back in the 60s. And those musicians are all playing around the country someplace, but I'm like 17 years old on there. I'm the one with the leather pants and the Gibson 335. And I'll tell you, if that's the one they had in the post office and I was America's Most Wanted, they'd never even think it was me. So I'm safe.
Yeah, you are for sure. Now you said every year in South Dakota, there is this big barn raising hootenanny or what jam session, whatever, and it's a family.
Yeah, in North Dakota we have the Trulson Jam, and we have it on my mother's farm back in North Dakota. My mother passed away in this past May, but we still had it. We have it every August, and we get musicians from Canada and Minnesota and Colorado, all over the state come there. And we just have many genres of music, but it goes all day and into the night. It's a lot of fun.
Let's talk about some of your Nashville buddies. Number one is Tommy Overstreet.
Yeah. Well, he was a brother. Tommy Dale Best and Tommy Overstreet and I wrote over 150 songs together. And of course, Tommy had, I think, 7 in the top 10 and or 26 in the top 10 and 7 #1 hits through the years. And just an awesome guy. He passed away in 2015, the 2nd of November. So I really miss him, but he spent a lot of time here. I think you met Tommy at my house, you and your husband, John.
I sure did. We did. And I knew of Tommy because my children's father was in the music industry in Nashville. My children were born there, and he worked with Tommy. He worked as a promotion man. You work with just about everybody.
That's right. Mike was he's very well known.
Yeah, that's Mike Kelly. That's yeah.
So through Tommy, he had me playing with quite a few of the Nashville legends, I'll say. From Tommy Cash to little Jimmy Dickens to you name it, Barbara Fairchild.
You know what? And you will know this. Grand Ole Opry, when I first went there in 84, I was able to get the connections to where it was when it was out at Opryland Hotel where the Opera House was. And you would go in the back room and it'd be all these dressing rooms with all these stars. Like you mentioned, little Jimmy Dickens, Roy Acuff was alive. And there's this big green room. It has all this food. And then if you wanted to watch the show, there would be grandstands behind the band where you looked past the band into the audience. Did you have, I'm sure you had that experience to do that.
Oh yeah, a lot of them. Yeah, we played Tommy's last concert in Texas, Carthage, Texas at the Country Hall of Fame. And there were many artists there from all Texas stars. But anyway, we were in the green room there like that, and we'd watch the other acts on the show and visit in the green room. Then when it was our turn, go out and do our part of the show, and then go back in there and watch the rest. But
It's so much fun. Then you just go down to each little, dressing room, and they have their crowd around them. I remember Roy Acuff, his bootmaker, and I became friends, and he actually made me a pair of red python boots. I traded an antique gun for those.
wow.
Yeah. It was
Well,
all these things going on. Jack and June Green, that's how I met you. Was
yeah.
in Boise with Jack, was performing there, but I had them
Jack,
over for Thanksgiving and just
Green and Candy Carpenter.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, really good times. And then we got connected, and I had you on my radio show way before I met you, and you were from my hometown.
Isn't that funny? That's really something. Well,
Uh,
you've done a lot in your life. I mean, Daytona.
I don't talk about that much, but yeah, I had a great life, and it's reaching your dreams. It's going for it and making it happen. And you know that, Rick.
Well, you're a positive thinker. That's why I love coming on your show, because you can't do anything without that positive thinking attitude. And
Wow.
you're a prime example of it.
Well, thank you. Well, I can't think of anyone more talented and a better producer than you. I can't wait till I'm doing something in your studio the end of this in October. So I can't wait
That's
for
going to
that.
happen.
Yeah, I'm really excited about that. So thank you very much.
Well,
Well,
we're looking forward to it.
let's have you say a few things about our next guest, Eric Daw. He is your guest that you invited on the show, and that's why we get to highlight you. Oh, before we do, here is a recording of you that I put on this ad of your music. Let's listen a little quick snippet, and then we'll let you talk about Eric Daw a little bit.
Okay.
That's a long play, but you played every instrument in that.
Yes, that's true. I wrote that. Hasn't been used yet, but I wrote it for film and television for a detective show, modern version of Secret Agent Man. That was to be the soundtrack for it.
Oh my
I mean,
gosh.
it could still happen. That's called Rat's Jam. Rat being my initials, RAT. And that's where Star Studio came from. It didn't look very good on using Rat on a gospel album that we were doing. So Dale Best was a brilliant mind. Now, I've told you this story, but I'm going to say it. He tried to be real, kind about it, but he said, Rick, I know that's your initials, but it just doesn't look good on the 3 CD gospel album we're doing. But if you hold Rats up to the mirror, look what it spells.
Isn't that cool?
And it spelled Star, and that became Star Studio. So
nobody can have that one. Nobody has those initials like you in the music industry that I know of. You're unique. You are it.
According to you and my mother, yeah.
Well, listen, I want you to just say a couple things about our next guest. This guest is absolutely amazing, and you introduced him to me. So why don't you tell me a little bit about Eric Daw before we bring him on?
Well, Eric Daw and I go back at least 25 years. He might tell you it's more, but he's he's got the chip, and one awesome musician. But he is, and I'll say without any doubt, the best guitar luthier in the country. The guy can set up his guitar. He sets up all my guitars. When I get them, they go right to Eric, and he sets them up. They need the action set, and so they're playable,
Mm-hmm.
and get the best out of them that you can. Eric's the guy to do it, and he builds guitars. But I'm going to just let you get him on there and ask him a bunch of questions. But he's all in all awesome musician, and a good man. So with that, here's
All
Eric.
right. That's a good intro. I sure appreciate it. With that, I can't wait to bring on Eric Daw. Eric, thank you so much for being here with us today.
Hi, thanks for having me on.
I'll tell you, you are amazing. You look so young to have done so much and be a hero at it.
Well, thanks. It's all camera tricks.
Ah, that camera tricks, yeah, right. And what I love is I was talking about the wallpaper in the background. That's original on the house you're at. I'm
Oh, yeah.
impressed. I love
Yeah.
it. That's popular nowadays. You know that?
I guess so. Yeah, we were talking about my house before we came on, but this house was built in the 50s and they never changed anything, and that's what I love about it. It's like an original, like all the wallpaper is original and everything, and it's just fun.
Well, yeah, I love it. And what we're going to do, we're going to start off with a little Instagram post you did, and then we'll start our conversation after that. But I
Sure.
want to get this on because it's a book you wrote, and we're going to get into that, but you get to play on this so we can kind of hear you. So it's on your Instagram, and here you
One
go.
of the reasons I wrote this book, you know, aside from the fact that I need $22 of your money, is that I wanted to share with everybody all of the crazy wiring schematics I've come up with over the years to get certain sounds for players who were having a hard time getting the sound that they wanted. One of the schematics in this book is called Eric's Crazy Strat. They're easy to read. They're really more diagrams than schematics. And the Crazy Strat, one of the things it enables you to do is it turns this knob into a phase control, like a phaser pedal. You've got totally passive onboard phasing, just like a phaser pedal. There's no battery, there's no anything. It's just using the phase of the pickups and moving the phase back and forth to give you a phase sound. Pretty fun. All kinds of crazy things that you can do in my book. You can get it at solidsoundbook.com. One of the reasons I wrote this book, you know, aside from the fact that I need
There you have it.
$22.
All right, that's it. Okay, so let me,
Yeah.
we're going to go on. I'll just go over it and over it. Okay, so what I'm going to do is we're going to get actually to your website. We're going to go through it and you're going to tell us all about it.
Okay.
Yeah, so I think I clicked on the wrong thing here. While I'm looking for that, why don't you tell us why do you have such a passion? How'd you get started with guitar building and all of the other things that you help people with?
You know, I was just always the kind of guy who likes to take things apart, figure out how they work. And so when I was a kid, you know, that was what I did when I got my first guitar. I just wanted to know how it worked and what made it tick and how things could be adjusted on it and how it was made. And what got me into the guitar initially was when I was a kid, I saw the movie The Buddy Holly Story with Gary Busey.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
You ever seen that?
I think I did. Yeah. I know who you're talking about.
It came out in the late 70s, I think. I was just a kid and you know, saw this movie that was completely inaccurate historically. It takes Buddy Holly's life story and turns it into complete fiction. But I didn't know that. I was just a kid. The music is what just turned me on my head. And this was the late 70s, early 80s when, you know, music at that time was like the end of disco and
Mhm.
you know, Michael Jackson and, you know, pop and Madonna. And I just didn't care about music until I saw that movie. When I saw that movie, I turned to my dad and I said, I need a guitar like yesterday. So that was what lit the fire for me, was hearing music that really spoke to me.
Mhm.
And I got a guitar and I've been playing and tinkering on guitars ever since I was about 6 or 7 years old.
Well, what I'm really impressed with is the fact that you kind of look like you're in the Buddy Holly era, where your hair is, your house. I mean,
I'm frozen
literally,
in
this is
time,
cool.
Christine. I'm completely frozen in time here.
You are. This is so cool. I mean, what I'm going to do, let me just get your website up. And what I want to do is just go through it. And I think you're just so classy. I just absolutely love it. Seriously, you are so classy. I have too many things up here. I got to get rid of some stuff to get this up. With that, where did you start? Did you start with a band first? And how did you get into the building part of the guitar?
Yeah. I was in bands with friends when I was a kid, and when I graduated from high school, there was a music store here in my hometown in Idaho Falls, Idaho, called Chesbro Music. And Chesbro Music at that time was a huge distributor for Ibanez electric and acoustic guitars. Ibanez is a huge manufacturer of mostly overseas made guitars, Japanese and Korean. But Chesbro was the distributor for the entire western half of the United States for that brand of guitar. And so any store that carried Ibanez guitars, they went through my hometown first. From the factory on their way to the store, they would be at Chesbro Music, and we would go through each guitar and set it up and adjust it, make sure that they played okay, kind of doing quality control, And I
didn't know that happened. I grew up in Idaho Falls, and I know Chesbro as well. I did not know. That is huge.
And most people wouldn't, because it's a 3-story building, and there's a lot that going on behind the scenes. So if you go in there as a retail customer, the only parts that you see are the retail operation.
Right.
You're only seeing a third of that operation. Behind the scenes, there's a huge wholesale operation. And at that time, they were the distributor for Ibanez guitars. So I worked there doing first shipping and then quality control for Ibanez guitars. And then I think they liked my work because they moved me into the repair department.
Excellent.
And so, like, anybody west of the Mississippi that had some kind of repair issue, like a warranty issue with their Ibanez guitar, they would send it back to Chesbro, and me and this one other fellow would do all the repairs for this whole western half of the United States for that brand.
That is huge. I just absolutely love that.
Yeah, and fast forward a few years, I moved to Seattle, and I got a job over there in Seattle at a place called Emerald City Guitars. And Emerald City Guitars is one of the premier vintage guitar stores in the United States. And so they sell valuable, basically antique vintage guitars. And some of these guitars can be worth, $50,000 or more if they're a very highly, sought after guitar. So I became their in-house guitar tech, and I worked there for 15 years. And while I was there, I also started building my own guitars. I ran into a few people who were building guitars, and they would get it most of the way done, and then bring it to me to kind of try to make it great, because they couldn't put the finishing touches on it. And I thought, gosh, I should do this.
It's gorgeous.
If I'm making other people's guitars operate properly, then maybe I should just do it from start to finish. So I made one guitar, and I thought, this is pretty good, but I bet I could make a better one.
Oh, cool.
So I made another one, And I thought, this is pretty good too, but I bet I could make it better. And that it's just been like that for years now. It's like every guitar I make, I think this is great. I bet the next one I could make it even better.
Now, the one that you were just talking about has that little knob where you can phase it out in and out.
Yeah.
That's this guitar right here, right?
It's very similar to that. It's not that exact guitar, but yeah, it looks just like that. Yeah. Yeah, my book is something that over the years I had different players asking me, hey, I want my guitar to do this certain thing, but I don't know how. So they would bring it to me and I would figure out a way to wire it to make it do what they wanted to do. And so I collected all those wiring diagrams over the years. And then there were a lot of wiring diagrams that I've used for sounds that I wanted to get. And that's what this book is. It's just a compilation of all the really off the beaten path ways to wire an electric guitar, mostly Fender style guitars.
So I absolutely love these guitar. I really like that red one down there that you've done. How many guitars, what's your production level with, and how long do they take to make each one?
Yeah, I make a few a month.
Okay.
And I'm pretty slow. I think I've made 180 something is where I'm at, I think.
Excellent. And you have it called Pinup Guitar, Custom Guitars. So on the backs, you have this little decal. Is it different? Can they choose what decal they want, or?
Each guitar gets a different decal. They're actually vintage decals from the 50s that I collect. I scour the planet for these vintage, they're called water slide decals. You dip them in water and then the decal slides off the paper, off the backing paper. But it's just kind of a throwback to a lot of these. My guitars are recreations of basically of classic guitars from the 50s. And a lot of the guitars from the 50s that would come through my repair shop and that I would work on them would have these like World War II era pinup girls on the back. And they were, players would just buy these decals for a dime down at the dime store and put the decal on the back of their guitar. And I thought it was so cool. And it was such a common thing for these vintage guitars to have those decals that I thought that would be a cool nod to history to have my guitars have these vintage decals on.
Oh, I think that's so cool. Now, you have a section called pickups. Do you make these yourself, or what's so special about this page and these pickups?
Yeah, I do. I make guitar pickups and I repair old guitar pickups that are they have a tendency to break and to need repair. And so I do a lot of rewinding of old guitar pickups that have broken down.
I just love this unique target, this focus that you have. I think it's, and then you have a podcast. And what does your podcast talk about?
Guitars, of course.
I mean, do you interview people, or do you have just like a tip of the day?
Yeah, it typically runs about an hour, and it's almost like Car Talk. Are you familiar with the radio show Car Talk?
I messed up on Josiah what show thing he was in, American Ninja Warriors. I thought it was. So you can't ask me anything like that. I will crucify it. So no, I may have, but to protect myself, tell us about it.
But it's basically a podcast where people either write in technical questions or they call in and leave a voicemail about guitars. They ask questions about, hey, I'm having trouble keeping my guitar in tune, or doing this or that, or it's basically a troubleshooting guitar repair advice podcast. It's listener driven. People
so it goes with your book.
Yeah. Well, that was the latest episode. I just released this book, so that was the latest episode, was promoting the book. But people write in from all over the world.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah.
Now, have you done originals? I mean, do you have your own recording that's out there we need to look at?
My own music?
Yeah.
I do. Yeah, and all the music I use in the podcast is my own music. And I've recorded at Rick's studio before too.
Oh, excellent. Can we find it on YouTube or anything?
It's been so long since I don't have anything recent. I don't have anything recent. I think the most recent album I have is called Hey Now, and it's on YouTube. The whole album is on YouTube.
Okay, that's cool.
Hey Now.
Well, maybe I can try to find it.
Yeah.
You're so eclectic. I mean, you have this Betty Holly era look about you with the wallpaper from the
way
50s.
I was born. I'm just embracing it at this point.
And you just have all of this good stuff about you that's quite unique. What's next? I'm seriously, you've done so much. What's going to be next?
I'm coasting.
There you go.
No, I have 2 little boys, and they take up a lot of my time. I'm focused a lot on family and on spending time with them. And I'm going to keep doing the podcast and keep doing my guitar repair. People send me guitars from all over the country to restore and to work on. And I just work from my home, and I'm just going to keep doing that until I can't move anymore.
And the best way to contact you is on your website, right? Or what is the best way?
Yeah, this website right here, ericdaw.com. That's the one.
Okay, and what's really good on your contact, you can just click what you want. So let me see if this works. Okay, so I'm going to say I want a custom guitar inquiry. So I'm going to name. Let's see how fast you respond. Just go on here, Campbell, and I will put my phone number. And then I am your hometown, IF. And my email is 9ATNIGHT show. That way you know it's me. I hope don't forget. show@gmail.com. And you are awesome. So just had to write a note there. And then we submit. Very good. Yep. So it has your phone numbers. What is the best way? Is it email or text you? Is the best way if anybody needs to get a hold of you?
Oh, either way. Email is always easy, but texting works also.
Okay. It says, please call or text for dropping by. So you have it all. It's ericdaw.com. Eric, I am so thrilled about this. Thank you so much.
Thanks. Yeah. Thank you.
And we've had an incredible show today. Thanks to you and to everybody else. We definitely will have you back, Eric, for sure. Thank you so much. Yeah, you bet. We're at the end of our hour. This was incredible. I cannot wait to have you all back. We had a wonderful show, and it's those that have an idea, have a dream, and make it work. Sometimes you have too much talent. You don't know what to do yet next or what you should focus on, and that's okay. Keep going at it. We at 9 at Night, we're Monday through Friday. As you can see, there's a different topic every night. And it's all about the talent tonight. Tomorrow, it's all about the money. Anything with finance, you're going to hear about what's really happening with your dollar bill on that one. Friday is all about the fun travel. And I'll tell you what's fun about the travel one this week. We have a guy who took his family in a sailboat around the world. And I interviewed him and we're going to play it tomorrow night. So I'm really excited. He's going to keep up in touch with us too. So we have incredible show here. Thank you so much, everyone, and we will catch you back on the next 9 at Night. You are incredible, and keep those talents going.